As we have been reporting, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik has dropped her bid for governor. She's also announced she won't be seeking re-election to Congress next year. And here to talk about what this means for the Republican Party and much more is the former Republican candidate for mayor. Curtis Sliwa joins us now. Welcome back to the program. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you. And also, you missed my karaoke yesterday at City Hall, room 9 for all the reporters.
Yes, there's some video of that floating around on social media if anybody wants to check it out.
And the great song, because I'm into EDM, electronic dance music, with my wife Nancy, the Chainsmokers, Don't Let Me Down. And how many people did in this election cycle?
Well, Elise Stefanik, who it appeared, had a path to the Republican nomination for governor, dropping out today. I mean, were you surprised by that?
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, to her credit, she was my #1 supporter in the mayoral campaign. She did not vacillate like so many who still are ghosting me and not returning my call. I'll get to you, my little pretties, real soon. But the day after I lost, first call I got was from Elise Stefanik, not a political call, you can tell the voice, personally concerned how you're handling this, Curtis. And I said, nah, today I'm back in the streets, back in the subway. This is what I typically do. But a good 20-minute conversation, and you could see this is a woman of character, and boy, she puts a capital to the L of loyalty. She gave up being our generation's Jean Kirkpatrick. If she had been the U.S. ambassador, if she had not given that up in order to give the majority to the Republicans in the House to support Trump's agenda, you and every media outlet would have been at the United Nations every time she took to the General Assembly to speak on behalf of our country, because she was known to eviscerate people. Look what she did to the chancellors of the Ivy League. Look at what she did to Andrew Cuomo when he came up and he had to give that public testimony before that House committee. She just eviscerated all of her opponents. I would have welcomed, whether it was in a primary, a debate against Bruce Blakeman, or in the general election, what a debate that would have been against Kathy Hochul.
So we are now, a month and a half removed from Election Day and the mayor's race. A little time for reflection, I guess. What do you think about when you think back on the mayor's race? I mean, is there any moments that stick out in your mind, any regrets you have from your mayoral campaign?
No regrets whatsoever, because I stood up to the masters of the universe, as you know. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Steve Miller, the billionaires, all the influencers, the insiders who said, oh, you got to drop out. This was starting in June. Remember when Cuomo unexpectedly wasn't going to get a coronation because Zoran and the Zoranistas just beat him with good old-fashioned retail politics. Remember when Cuomo left the Hamptons, he started out with 40% in the primary. March 1st, he announced this officially. Zoran Mandami is dead last in the Democratic primary, 1%. And then he goes on and beat him by 13%. And then remember, there was the mad dash over to Eric Adams. He was going to be the savior. He would take on Zoran. How long did that last? And I was being told to drop out then. And every day thereafter, since June 5th, I couldn't even get an answer. I couldn't even give an answer to any of the pressing issues during the campaign, because it would always be, well, we hear you're dropping out. We hear you've been offered an opportunity to work in the Trump administration or to leave. And it turned out they were offering me $10 million to drop out. And I say, no mas, no, I'm not dropping out.
Well, and one theory was that you were somehow colluding with Zoran Mandami in order to sort of give him the election. That's what we heard from some people in the Cuomo camp and from Mayor Eric Adams. I actually want to play you a clip because he talked about that this week in an interview with CNBC. Take a listen.
So my plan wasn't flawed. Right. It was flawed when you had people like Curtis Sliwa, who I still believe was working for the Zoran campaign.
You think he was real?
Oh, without a doubt.
What?
Without a doubt.
Based on what?
The number of things. He never raised money like this before when he ran for office. So what was all those contributions coming from? Number two, he clearly knew he had no chance of winning. He clearly knew that, but he stayed in anyway, and then do an analysis of who he attacked. He didn't attack Zoran. He attacked Andrew Cuomo. He attacked Eric Adams. So his whole strategy, you need to question and look at. And I think history is going to reveal his role.
What's your response to that?
Well, what a bunch of sore losers, Cuomo and Eric Adams. They can't accept the fact that they lost. Zoran Mandami beat them. And more importantly, now they want to blame me for their losses, their setbacks. By the way, did he do that via satellite link up from Acapulco? Where is he today? It's like Matt Lauer. What country is Eric Adams in today at taxpayers' expense? And this guy should have been going for re-election. Generally an incumbent Democrat. Very easy. He would have run against me a second time. Would have been very difficult. But because of his failures, because of the fact that Donald Trump rescued him from becoming a cellmate from Gold Bar's Bobby Menendez in federal prison because he was guilty of political corruption. And now he's saying, I didn't do anything wrong. Just like Cuomo, I didn't do anything wrong. Just like Trump, I don't do anything wrong. They never apologize. That's why I say they are products of the masters of the universe, and I'm not. If I mess up, I fess up. I apologize. But can you believe this? He's running this line. And by the way, if I was steering in the direction of Zoran Mandami, hey, Zoranistas, I didn't say I wouldn't come to the swearing in, right, at City Hall. Where's my invitation, right? Oh, Adams, I don't know if I'll go. Cuomo, what did he slide in under his rock out there in the Hamptons with his billionaire friends? And by the way, I find out that Zoran's wife, the incoming first lady, Rama, I believe her first name is, she's bringing a cat into Gracie Mansion. Zoran then said in an interview, I'm allergic to cats, but I'll take the shots. All the animal rescue groups would say, this is wonderful, which it is. I hope it's a rescue cat. Me, I was getting attacked over and over. You cat hoarder. Trump was saying, oh, this will destroy Gracie Mansion. Now he's best friends with Zoran Mandami after that meeting. Oh, Zoran, call me a fascist anytime you like.
What do you think of what you've seen so far from Mamdani these last, 6-8 weeks as far as the transition and some of the people he's appointing to top jobs?
He is given an opportunity now to put into an administration that he got voted. He got a mandate. He got over 50% of the votes. But I see that Eric Adams and his administration have thrown every monkey wrench into the process to make a very difficult job that much more difficult. He needs a grace period like every mayor needs, and they all make mistakes right out of the box. I don't know of any mayor that hasn't made mistakes, and he'll make mistakes. But let's face it, if Zoran Mandami and the administration does well, New York City does well, we all do well, New York State does well, America does well. So let's hope that he can deliver. I'm looking at things the way they are. I don't think he can. But I certainly am not going to be there to badmouth him and create all these obstacles and really sabotage along the way that Eric Adams, by the way, what country is he in today?
We're not sure.
Okay. Sabotaging his effort to get started right out of the box.
All right, Curtis, just about 30 seconds left. But let me ask you about your future because you gave up a lucrative radio gig at WABC to run for mayor. You swore you will not ever return to WABC. So what's next for you?
Well, WABC always stood for Always Broadcasting Curtis for 35 years. And then all of a sudden it became Always Blaming Curtis for Zoran Mandami. Then it became Always Broadcasting Cuomo. And now it's Always Bashing Curtis. So I've said, and I'm a man of my word, if nothing else, I will never go to WABC again. In fact, you can hear me on WOR starting Monday as I substitute for Mark Simone, who's their best talk show host. And we'll see what happens. But one thing for sure, I will never be at WABC. You'll see me in the streets and the subways every day. I would rather be in a men's shelter living there or riding on the number 4 train with nowhere to go than to ever be at WABC again. Because they started this whole campaign, Curtis, you must drop out. How did that work out, WABC, huh?
Well, you did stick to your word that you were going to stick it out in the mayoral campaign. You never dropped out despite those calls for you to do that. So, Curtis Sliwa, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Can you give me an invitation to the inauguration? Because all of a sudden I'm a person of no consequence.
He says it's going to be open to all New Yorkers. So I think you'll be welcome.